Radio headlines. Goldberg Jones. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.
All right, what's going on, my friends? 3 o'clock. Trailblazers finish off the first half of their season tonight with one more game in Denver against the Nuggets. Tip-off scheduled for 6. Chris Burkhart will have Blazers game day at 4 here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. Portland has dropped back-to-back games after winning 6 straight. The 3-game road trip will end tonight. After the All-Star break, the Blazers will host the Lakers with Luka February 20th at Moda Center. You can get tickets at trailblazers.com. Luka and the Lakers will be in Utah tonight for his second game in the purple and gold. That tip-off is at 6. From college football, the Ohio State Buckeyes are finalizing a deal to hire former Patriots coach Matt Patricia as their defensive coordinator. You can join me tomorrow for the Rip City Drive. Alex Brink will join me to talk Super Bowl and the offseason at 4:20. And the coach, Michael Holton, in studio for Holton on Hoops at 5:20. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doings coming at you right now.
The home of the OSAA is 620 Rip City Radio. It's time for the Rip City Drive, brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Featuring the crazy and often irrational longtime Portland radio vet, Chad Doing.
I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means, but very close, especially even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year, a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
When they had conversations with Aaron Rodgers about what the future would look like, if you're going to be part of this team, you're going to attend all of the training camp. You're not going to do Pat McAfee interviews anymore.
Wait, they said that?
Yeah. If you were to stay here, here's how we would want it to be. So this to me is Aaron Glenn getting control back.
So do you think that if he would have agreed to not do that stuff, that he would have been their quarterback?
I think that no matter what the Jets were going to say, Aaron Rodgers wanted to move on.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, coming up at 3:20, Sean Hyken, our Trailblazer insider from the Rose Garden Report. We'll talk basketball with him. He just put out a note. This is impressive. The top 5 NBA teams year-over-year average viewership as of February 1st. So I'm going to give you the top 5 in reverse order. You want to guess who's number 1? The Houston Rockets are 5th at plus 14%. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 4th at plus 55%. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 3rd at plus 57%. Your Dallas Mavericks are plus 58%. That certainly will drop immediately after that ridiculous trade involving Luka Doncic. I still can't believe how dumb they are. Hey, Nico, are you awake? Do you realize that you traded away a top 3 player in the world? Are your owners awake? Where's the Adelson Group? Morons. I have a good idea. We don't like this guy because he might be a little bit overweight and he drinks beer. But yet he still carried us to the finals and he's a badass. And he's top 3 in the world. What should we do? I don't know. Let's trade him. Should we get capital in return to rebuild our franchise? No. Let's move him for an priced aging superstar, who, by the way, is less healthy than Luka. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Idiots. And number 1 on the list for the top 5 NBA teams year-over-year average viewership as of February 1st, your Portland Trailblazers at plus 68%. Now, your bottom 5 in order: Chicago, the Bulls are minus 63%, the Heat minus 56%, the Atlanta Hawks, minus 50. Utah, minus 44. Who on earth wants to watch Utah basketball right now? And the Wizards, who no one cares about it, minus 36%. So props to the Trailblazers. It was a no-brainer to move the broadcast to direct over air. They made it easy for the fans. I've heard from a lot of fans who are happy to have easy access to the games. There are a few who obviously don't want to go back into what they call the, quote, dark ages and use an antenna. But for the majority, it's been easy, and they have access to the games, and they love it. It was a genius move. And we knew when we got word on that, it was going to be a win for the franchise. You make the games available. You make it easy for people to watch the product, and guess what? They will. And the good thing is, and the reason why I like what the NBA has done or what they're doing, I think the commissioner wants the teams to go direct over air. And I think it's a good idea. You might lose a few dollars initially from the standpoint that you don't have a partner that's paying you that chunk of money up front. But I think the benefit long-term is there. When you make your games available across the state, you have a chance to reach younger fans. You have a chance to reach older fans. You have a chance to raise a generation of basketball fans. And they'll grow up watching Trailblazer games and become Trailblazer fans. And then once they become fans and get hooked, guess what? They want to buy merchandise. They want to go to games. They want to buy tickets. They want to be a part of the action. And they'll be there to support the team. So that's a good win. And props to the Trailblazers for making that move. It was confusing initially when you're used to technology and everything to go back to the simple antenna. But I'm telling you, I have an antenna in my room, and I watch the free channels all the time. It's genius. It's really good. It's a lot different than what I grew up with when there was no remotes and you had to get up to turn the knob to get to one of your 3 or 4 channels that were available. And my first TV was black and white. Now, for you younger ones out there, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but trust me, you're in a much better day and age of consuming content. Just trust me on that, okay? It's true. So the Trailblazers, number 1 right now in year-over-year viewership. That's very good. That's nice to hear. So we'll talk to Sean Highkin about that. I also want to get the latest on DeAndre Ayton. He's got a calf strain, and he's going to be out for more than 4 weeks. He'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks, which is unfortunate because he had a stretch where he was playing really good basketball. But the bright side is that's going to be more playing time for Donovan Clingan. And again, we have to go back to the original goal or the most important priority for the franchise before the season began. That was player development. Player development, player development, player development. And then with that, or right behind that, is the pursuit and continued acquisition of young assets. Draft picks and guys like Denny Avdia and Tamani Kamara. That's what you're looking for. But for Donovan Clingan, he's coming off his best game, his best offensive game as a pro on Monday night against the Nuggets. 21 points, 7 boards. He was 8 of 8 from the floor. He'll get more playing time now, and that's going to help in a couple of different fronts. One, he'll get more experience. He'll make mistakes. He'll learn from them, but also it'll give him a chance to get some burn on the floor and continue to ramp up his conditioning. Because the biggest thing I've heard from multiple people throughout the year, because I'm like, why aren't they playing Clingan more? Why is your first-round draft pick only getting about 15 minutes a night? Well, it's conditioning. Okay. Well, now he'll get a chance to play a little bit more and get some more conditioning, which is terrific. So we'll talk with Highkin about that as well. And then we've got the game tonight. It's the final game before the All-Star break, and the Blazers are going to get a week off, a chance to recharge the batteries. All-Star weekend is coming up this weekend, and then the second half, the final stretch, will kick off on February 20th at Moda Center with Luka and LeBron on the floor together at Moda Center. That is what I call a beautiful night. Beautiful, because we get a chance to sit back and watch those two guys playing together. They look pretty dynamic on offense the other night against Utah. Good luck trying to slow them down. Really difficult when you got two beasts like LeBron and Luka playing together. And then we get a chance to sit back and watch and be like, well, why'd Dallas give him up? It's amazing to me the nonsense coming out of the Mavericks franchise right now. They're trying to throw him under the bus. Nico's crazy. Anyone involved in that trade is dumb. And anyone that was involved in that trade is going to lose their job real soon. And the fans will never forgive you for that type of maneuver, ever. They're not going to forgive you, nor should they. If I was a Mavericks fan, I'd be livid. I would be a Laker fan now, actually. But the NBA is interesting where, and it was really like this when I was younger, I had teams when I lived in Denver. The Nugget games were on TV all the time, so I watched a lot of Nugget basketball when I was living in Colorado. This is when I was, 12, 13 years old. They had Alex English, Michael Adams. They had some good players. Fat Lever. They were fun to watch because they had a really up-tempo, movement, motion type offense with Doug Moe, their head coach. So I would watch them. But then what I've noticed with the NBA, because they've always done a good job of marketing the stars, well, the Nuggets weren't making the finals, but the Lakers and Celtics were. So I had a chance to watch Larry Bird or Magic. And I was exposed to Isaiah Thomas and Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan and all these other great players around the league. And so while I had teams, the Nuggets initially, and then when I moved to Portland, the Trailblazers, I had teams that I would follow. I would also watch other games because I was fans of a particular player. My guess would be for Maverick fans right now who are upset with the franchise for their incompetence, their stupidity, whatever word you want to put on it, for trading Luka. It's amazing to me. And then what did the team president say? Dumont? He came out and he said, hey, the great players of the past with the work ethic, and he named guys like Shaq and teammates like Kobe. Look, I love Kobe as much as anyone, but he wasn't exactly a terrific teammate at times. He berated guys. And Shaq's work ethic was garbage. That's why Kobe wanted to kill Shaq, because he would show up to camp fat. And Kobe grinded you around, and Shaq would show up and be like, I'm going to play myself into shape. It was all crazy. So they have no idea what they're doing. But I digress. I think Maverick fans will become Laker fans because they're going to follow Luka to wherever he goes, because I believe that there are a lot of fans out there who watch basketball who are more fans of certain players than they are a particular team. It's changed. When I was younger, you had teams that I still have, and you remain devoted to them for your entire life. It's weird to be a fan. Like, your franchise can do crazy stuff, like trade Luka. And when I was younger, you were considered a loser if you gave up on your team. You weren't allowed to jump to another team because you'd be called a bandwagon fan, even if your team gave you good reason to walk away. And I've never understood that. Why shouldn't you be able to walk away from your team or boycott them for a period of time if they're doing things and conducting business in a way that you believe is unnecessary? For instance, when the Broncos hired Josh McDaniels and he promptly ran off Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler, I instantly stopped watching them. And I love them as much as anyone. And I boycotted them. I boycotted them and did not watch their games, even though I wanted to watch their games because I loved the franchise, because their coach was a complete buffoon who had no idea what he was doing, and he was a terrible person. And if you don't believe me, ask the players that play for him. The guy was a psychotic. And he proved it when he went to Vegas and he tried to run the Raiders into the ground. What's he got against the AFC West? So McDaniels was a fool. I boycotted. And then Pat Bowlen, because he's such a great owner, quickly recognized the mistake, fired his ass, and then hired John Elway. And in that moment, I instantly jumped back on board. But he did not deserve my full and unquestioned support when you make bad moves like that. And that's what the Mavericks did. So my guess is there's a lot of Maverick fans who are now Laker fans. That's just the way it goes. I wasn't a Bulls fan, but I love watching MJ play because he was unreal. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Sean Heiken's coming up next from Denver. He's on the road trip right now with the Trailblazers. So we'll get his take on Ayton and how long he's going to be out, what this means for Klingon in terms of minutes that he will play, and what's the ultimate goal post-All-Star break for the Blazers. Will some guys play less minutes? Will it be similar to what we've seen the last couple of years? We'll find out next. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad Doing. Yeah, Brendan just asked me if Travis Kelce will have to ask Taylor Swift if it's okay with her if he plays another year of football. And I said, well, yeah, just be careful what you decide, because if not, she might cheat on you with a jiu-jitsu instructor, and then you wind up single like Tom Brady. All right, let's go out to the phones. He is in Denver. He's been on the current road trip with your Portland Trailblazers. He is our Trailblazer insider from RoseGardenReport.com. Sean Highkin is back. You can follow him on social at Highkin. Sean, let's start with the Nuggets. How about Jokic? 40 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. In 3 quarters of work on Monday, he was sensational.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Whenever you get a chance to watch him in person, there were a couple of shots that he made, these like fall away 3-pointers as the shot clock expires. One of them was actually waved off, so it didn't even count. But there were 2 different ones that he hit in the first quarter that were just like, and this is when the Nuggets like hadn't missed any shots yet in the game, because they made their first 11 shots of the game before they missed one.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't even play in the fourth quarter and he still finished with 47 and 8 or whatever he ended up with is just insane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was watching him, and it took me a while to warm up to Jokic. I think partly, Sean, because I'm very partial to the greats that I grew up with, and I'm very hesitant to move somebody into the top 10. But I was watching Jokic, and Larry Bird's my favorite player of all time, but he reminds me of Bird from the standpoint that he moves at his own pace, so you can't speed him up. He doesn't look like he's fast, but he knows where to get to. He's very good without the ball. He can handle the rock like a guard, but he's built like a normal, old-time center. And his court vision and awareness of what's going on around him at all times is truly stunning.
This reminds me of something that Chauncey actually said about Jokic probably 2-3 years ago. It was one of his first years with the Blazers. He was asked before a game against the Nuggets about Jokic, and he said that he doesn't look like it, but he is actually maybe the best conditioned player in the entire league because guys go at him constantly, and he also just doesn't miss games. So it's one of those things where, like, it doesn't look like it is what it is, but, he's the best player in the world.
Well, remember, how many minutes did he play in that quadruple overtime playoff game at Moda Center against
like 44
the
or
Trailblazers?
something.
Yeah, and then after the game, he joked about being a little bit chubby, and he was out there the whole game getting the job done. Yeah, he's really great. I've warmed up to him, and I appreciate him. I like the way he handles his business, and that was really a masterclass of basketball that he put on Monday. But I want to refer to this message you put out. This is terrific news for the franchise, and I talked about it when the show opened up. How about the Trailblazers being number 1 in the NBA year over year with average viewership up 68%? That is amazing. They've got to be thrilled with that number.
It turns out that when you put your games over the air where anybody can watch them with an antenna, people are more likely to watch your games. I don't think it should really take a genius to figure that out.
No, it's true. I wanted to ask you about the philosophy behind it, because I believe that Commissioner Silver wants more teams to follow that model. I know that you may lose a little bit of money up front with the, that chunk of change you get from your partner, but now that you're over the air, long term, I would imagine it's better for business because more fans have access to your games. You have a chance to grow up younger kids who are watching your games, who eventually will want to buy merchandise and go to games and buy tickets. So it would seem to me that everyone having access to games long term is probably better for the franchise, but also the league. Is that kind of how you see it, or is that the idea behind it?
I think more people being able to watch your games is generally a good thing, because that gives more people a chance to become a fan of your team, or connect with your team or connect with the players. If it's just accessible to you, if you can just turn on the TV and do it, and buy an antenna that costs $15, or pay for the $120 streaming package for the season, which is pretty reasonable. It's just, and then the other thing is just, the amount of bad press that they've gotten over the last couple of years for the root deal, and how they moved it even on Comcast, which was, I think, the only cable provider that it was on locally. Then they moved it to a different tier, and it was just this constant thing that the organization had to answer for, and something that fans were unhappy about, and there was no way to really spin it positively for anybody. And it was just so much harder to watch games, and for it to kind of be the opposite, where they said, hey, look, we got out of the root deal. Now anybody with an antenna can watch games on K2. And, you look at the results, and even, in a season like this, if you take out the last couple of weeks and the Blazers have been winning, the on-court results haven't really been that much different than they've been last season, and yet a lot more people are watching simply because a lot more people are logistically able to watch if they don't have cable.
Yeah, it's a great sign. We're talking with Sean Highkin, our Trailblazer insider from the RoseGardenReport.com. We got the word from the Blazers today. DeAndre Ayton, a calf strain. He's going to be out at least 4 weeks. They'll reevaluate him at that point, and then we'll see what happens. For Donovan Clingan, what do you think this means in terms of minutes per game that he'll get now with Ayton out of action?
Well, I would imagine Donovan's going to start for the foreseeable future now because, with Ayton out and Rob Williams is still kind of, he's still questionable for tonight. I would be shocked if he goes against Denver in the last game before the All-Star break. But we kind of know what it is with Rob at this point. He's going to be in and out because of health, and they're very careful and they're very, very conservative about how much they let him play because of his health history. So for anybody that wanted to see Donovan Clingan moved into the starting lineup, I think you're probably going to get your wish at least for the next 4 weeks and maybe longer than that. As far as number of total minutes, I'm not sure about that. I think they still like him kind of at the number that he's at right now, which is kind of close to 15 or 20. I would imagine they'll probably try to bump that up a little bit just out of necessity as long as Ayton's out. But, Clingan, I would think, is going to be starting now going forward as long as Ayton is out.
Now, do you have any good idea in terms of what the plan is going to be post-All-Star break? Do you think we'll see certain guys be shut down? Will they continue to play everyone? How do you think they're going to handle that?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they do that again as you get closer to the end of the season. But I don't think they would do it to the extreme that they did at the last couple of years. So this Ayton injury, this is a legit injury, and this is the kind of thing where you can very easily say, we reevaluated him after the 4 weeks. He still needs more time, and, maybe he just doesn't play again this season. I don't think you can rule that out. But then, I think at that point, they're not I think that if they were going to shut guys down, you would be looking at probably Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons, and then that would be kind of an opportunity to give them an extended look at the lineup that I think a lot of people want to see of Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, Denny Avdia, Tumani Kamara, Donovan Clingan. Give that a little bit of an extended look, see how that looks. I think the shutdown thing is a little bit easier to sell when the guys that are going to be playing because of the shutdown are, those type of core young guys and not, what it was the couple of years where they were just pulling guys out of the G League to be able to fill out an active roster.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Sean. I'm pretty excited about seeing that potential lineup of Scoot, Shaden, Clingan, Tamani, and Denny. That will be fun because we'll probably see that lineup at some point during the final stretch run. That's going to be cool to watch because those 5 guys are what's giving me hope for the future.
I think that's kind of where a lot of people are at right now, and you don't want to see something like this happen to DeAndre Ayton, who was playing the best stretch of basketball that he's played this whole season, and probably his best stretch as a Blazer. And it sucks that happened to him. But also this injury, just based on what they put out, a calf strain, it could be a 2-week injury, it could be a 2-month injury, depending on the severity of it. And so it looked pretty bad the night of. He couldn't put weight on that leg at that night here in Denver. It was looking like it could have been, something a lot worse than it was. So I think all things considered, it's good news that it ended up only being something that as of now they're saying he'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. It could have been a lot worse, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's good. And I do feel bad for Ayton because you're right. This recent stretch, he's been dynamite, terrific for the Trailblazers, and he's been paramount in that stretch where they won 10 out of 11. But you know how the calf strain goes. Anyone that watches sports or pays attention to sports for a period of time, that's one of those injuries where you got to be careful. It's tricky where you think you're okay, and then you can restrain real easy.
Yeah, and, you saw that happen, Dame's last year in Portland after he came back from the core surgery. He had to deal with that a couple of times, and there were different times where he had that injury and he wanted to come back and the medical staff basically had to hold him out longer because they were trying to be careful with it. And yeah, especially for somebody as big as DA, that kind of leg stuff you just don't really want to play around with.
No question about it. What'd you make of Luka's debut against the Jazz with LeBron in a Laker uniform?
He was okay. I wasn't really expecting him to go out there and dominate. He hadn't really played in a couple months because of, funnily enough, a calf strain, which is the exact injury DA just had. And, first game in a new uniform, new team, it's going to take a little bit of time to get acclimated, but he's going to be fine.
Are you surprised at how much junk is coming out of the Mavericks franchise as they move further away from this deal going down?
It's not looking like it wouldn't be a great time to be the Mavericks right now. It's pretty much nothing's going right for them. You got the Anthony Davis injury now, like Daniel Gafford is out. You got fans protesting. I saw a tweet yesterday of Nico Harrison was just attending an SMU college basketball game, and they were like "Fire Nico" chants breaking out. And it's pretty tough right now if you're them.
Yeah, and it's a bad look when you start removing fans from the arena because they're holding up signs or showing frustration. I mean, it's almost like they were surprised that fans revolted at the idea of trading away a top 3 player in the world.
Well, this is kind of a throwback, but do you remember in like 1999 or 2000, there was that lady at a Blazer game that had a trade Bob Whitsitt sign that do you remember that?
Yes.
That's kind of what that made me think back to.
Yeah, she got removed from the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That's so crazy. All right, what else are you focused on now, and what are you going to be looking at this weekend with the All-Star break? Because the Blazers, they're going to get a full week off before the game against the Lakers on the 20th. So what's your focus now for the next few days?
Well, I mean, a bummer about tonight's game is that Scoot Henderson is also out with an ankle injury. I don't think that's anything long-term. I think he's probably going to be fine after the break. But, I would have liked to see him, just stack more and more games up in this stretch that he's been in lately. So, I mean, I'm curious to see what Chauncey does in the starting lineup. Maybe we get an extended Delano Banton run. I don't know. But, as far as the All-Star stuff, the Blazers have 3 guys going to All-Star. Scoot, I think, will still be there, even though because of the ankle injury, he's not going to actually be participating in Rising Stars anymore. They announced that today. But Tumani Kamara and Bryce McGowan are both going to be there. And I just love the idea. So I thought this new All-Star format was dumb when they first announced it. But now that I saw what the teams are in Rising Stars, and the team that Tumani is on also has, like, both of the Thompson twins, Amen and Asar, and like Bilal Coulibaly. So it's just like all these long wings that are just going to be like swarming you. So I kind of love the idea of on Sunday, the All-Star game, if Tumani's team is the one that ends up getting to actually get to play at the All-Star game. Getting, in a situation where, Tumani is picking up like LeBron or Kevin Durant or somebody full court at the All-Star game. And they're just so annoyed because they have to actually try now.
No, it's going to be great. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I wanted to ask you, in regard to Tumani, from the people you know around the league outside of Portland, like what are some of the thoughts on Tumani as he continues to emerge as one of the best defenders in the game?
People don't like being guarded by him. I can tell you that. People get really annoyed with him as far as like having to play against him, and it's definitely people I think around the league are noticing him.
All right, you can follow him on social at Hyken. He is our Trailblazers insider, and you can read him at therosegardenreport.com. He's got a fresh piece up right now where you can get the latest on DeAndre Ayton. And he also says it's okay to enjoy a Trailblazers unexpected hot streak, all of that and much more at the Rose Garden Report. Sean, are you enjoying the road trip?
It's been fun, yeah.
That's good. It's probably nice for you to get on the road because you get a chance to be around some of the guys a little bit more and get a chance to talk more basketball. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's always good when you get to do that, yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll catch up soon, man. Enjoy the game and enjoy All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
There's Sean Hyken. He's in Denver, Colorado right now, chilling. And now the big question is it going to be like Denver here in Portland tomorrow? I did talk to a weather individual in Portland who does weather. And I was told that we should be okay tomorrow. Nothing major. This person also indicated that maybe some of the discussions around snow or conditions could be hyped up just a tad on the television broadcast locally. Just a tad. I have to admit, the local news coverage when it comes to snow or ice or anything like that, it's nauseating because they love it. And that's what this person told me, that my bosses can't wait. They dream of snow and icy conditions because they know they have a captive audience. And they'll use the word treacherous about 1 billion times over a 48-hour stretch. It's crazy. When I was younger, like any kid or like my daughter, I wanted snow. Why? Because I could stay home and play and not go to school. When you're older and you have places you need to be and places where you need to go, you don't want to deal with that type of nonsense, especially in an area that's not well equipped to deal with said weather. I got stuck waiting to get on the 205 bridge for 3 hours in the middle of the night. What was it, last year or 2 years ago? The problem is I'm in one of those jobs where I have to be at work. There's no call in. Part of the responsibility of being a radio professional is being available for work. I remember one time when I worked at a different station, it was up on a hill near downtown. I got stuck in the snow trying to get to work, and then Gavin Dawson jumped in one of the news rigs, a Subaru, and came down and got me. And he powered in four-wheel drive right up the hill, and we left my car wherever it was sitting off Macadam. And that's just the way it goes. So we'll see how things shake out tomorrow. So Ayton's out for an extended period of time, more playing time for Donovan Clingan, and that's a good thing. How excited are you to see that lineup? Scoot, Shaden, backcourt. Clingan, middle, with the two dynamo forwards, Denny and Tamani. Those are the five guys that are giving me a lot of hope and optimism for the future. I'm geeked on it. Absolutely geeked. And Sean and Sandy wants to know if I have the sniffles. No, I don't. I'm perfectly healthy right now. I worked out this morning, and so my body temperature is running a little bit hot. And I have one of those meat sticks. You ever eaten a Chomps? Chomps meat sticks are pretty good, delicious. And I ate one of the jalapeno ones, and sometimes that combined with the speed up of my body core, it causes my nose to run just a little bit. But I'm good. I feel really good. I feel great right now, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like right now, I would say Wednesdays at around 3 o'clock, it's like peak Chad. So if you're ever wondering what peak Chad is, it's about 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Because I'm coming off my workout with my buddy Luke. The endorphin level is incredibly high. I just consumed my post-workout beverage, which is delicious. I'm highly caffeinated, and I feel amazing. So you are getting the best of everything I have to offer right now. Unfortunately, the best of what I have to offer lasts for about 15 minutes, and then it's over for the rest of the week. And then by later tonight, near the end of the Trailblazer game, I'll be garbage again. So I try to maximize that 15 minutes on Wednesday afternoon when I'm at my best. I'm not great, and I don't have the ability to be great for an extended period of time, unfortunately. I'm not MJ. I'm not Elway. I'm like the 15-minute man. So you got 15 minutes of greatness, and then the rest is kind of, it's just Chad. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhart is coming up with Game Day at 4 o'clock to get you ready for the tip-off tonight in Denver. Hopefully Jokic won't be on fire again. He was so good on Monday. It was like, wow. 3 quarters of work, 40 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. He's so good. And I didn't want to like him, but now I like him. I just tip the cap and say, good for you, partner. And he seems like a pretty cool guy as well. But when he's on the floor, he makes plays and designs his game to win. And I respect that. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing. I just got turned down by Chris Burkhardt. I said, you can join me for the final segment if you want. He's like, no, I got to go grab someone. Fine. I didn't want you in the show anyways, loser. All right, he's got Blazer Game Day coming up here at the top. The one thing I'm not, this fake outrage about Taylor Swift being booed at the Super Bowl, it's total garbage. Look, here's the reason why she got booed. I can explain this simply. If you look at the Super Bowl based on the location and the two teams that were in the Super Bowl, Philadelphia is a massive city with a bunch of people, and Eagle fans are as rabid and insane as any fan base in the country. You know it, and I know it. They're crazy. I've been to games with them. I've been around them. I know some of them. They're all psychotic. And they also, because they come from that city, there's a certain toughness and bitterness that sits underneath the surface with them. They will call you out. They will criticize you. They're not a warm and fuzzy type city like Portland. Like, if you don't win and you don't get the job done, they don't beat around the bush. Get rid of him. Cut him. He sucks. Here in Portland, we would consider that uncivilized. Or, hey, Chad, you need to be a little bit nicer, right? We don't like people like that from Philly. Well, this is very simple. On Sunday in the Super Bowl, because of the Eagle fan base and the city, there's more Eagle fans by far at the game itself than there were Chief fans. So what do you think Philly fans are going to do with anyone they don't like? And because of Taylor Swift and the fact that she's with Travis Kelce and she's a Chiefs fan, how do Eagle fans communicate their love for someone? They boo you. And that's why she got booed, because Eagle fans were there. They know she supports the Chiefs, and therefore they're going to let her know it. We don't appreciate that. We don't care about you. We don't care about Travis Kelce, and we want the Eagles to kick their butts. And so they booed her. I think that's the majority of the reason why. They weren't disrespecting her. They weren't questioning her music or her work ethic. I'm sure there are Eagle fans that like Taylor Swift music, but they don't like the fact that she was pulling for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl when their team's in there, trying to win a championship. That's what I think. I think it had less to do with politics and more to do with the fact that she's a Chiefs fan, and there were more Eagle fans in the house, and they wanted to let her hear it. Now, keep in mind, as talented and successful as Taylor Swift is, Eagle fans have booed Mike Schmidt, who was a local legend. They booed Michael Irvin when he was lying on the turf at the old vet. He was hurt, and they're still booing him because he was a cowboy. They have booed Santa Claus. That place is so crazy that they had to gel a prison underneath the stadium to find a place to house these crazy people. It was like a Philadelphia Guantanamo Bay. They take them down there and waterboard them and try to straighten them out. And, of course, it never worked. So that's what the deal was. That's what was going on. Eagle fans, if you're pulling for the Chiefs, they're going to boo you. And if you're sitting close to them, they might want to fight you because they're definitely, Philly guy is definitely likes to fight guy. No question about it. No question about it. So there you go. I don't think it was disrespect. They weren't questioning her music ability or none of that stuff. She's a Chief fan. What are they going to do? Celebrate that? Cheer for her? That's not Philly fan. And it would be hard to stomach to see Philly fans showing respect to someone because that's not how they roll. You got to give it to Philly fans. They're consistent. No matter what the situation is, they boo. If they don't like you, if they perceive you to be on the other side, boo. Or however you boo. Where's my boo thing? When was the last time you booed someone? Have you booed anyone recently? I can't remember the last time I booed somebody. But Travis Kelce, you get towards the end of your career. I remember I asked Jerry Rice this once when I was down in San Francisco. I asked him, I said, what have you found? And keep in mind, he's the greatest wide receiver to ever play the game. And it's not even close. Jerry Rice and everyone else. And he was also known as a workout freak. Just an insane dude. He ripped up his knee one year in 97, tore his ACL, like ripped up the knee in week 1. He was back before the end of the season. So he's a crazy guy, Jerry Rice. But I asked him, I said, what have you found since you retired to replace the charge you got from running out on the field, for game days on Sunday? And he looked at me dead in the eye. He paused, and he said, I'm still looking. Think about that for a second. And this is like 10-plus years after his retirement. He's still looking. It's got to be hard to walk away from the game because you're never going to find that level of competition, that type of charge. Like, that's why you have to enjoy it for as long as you possibly got it. And that's why my encouragement to athletes is, if you still have a desire to play and you want to play and you've got a team that will let you play for them, go play. You have plenty of time to shut it down and retire and move on to whatever's next. But if you still want to play, get it out of your system so that when you're done, you've got nothing left to give. And then you can look back and be like, I'm glad I took advantage of every opportunity. Some guys can walk away too soon, like Barry Sanders, and they're fine with that. But for most guys, it's like, if you don't know, like if you know you still have something inside, then go get it out of you, man. Go play and get it done, because there's no coming back to the NFL. Like even Michael Jordan, a lot of people were like, why is he coming back? Why is he playing for the Wizards? I couldn't care less. He should do what he wants to do. It's his career, and he wanted to play. I don't think it tarnished anything he did in a Bulls jersey. He just wanted to go hoop and play basketball, which is cool. And so for Travis Kelce, he's got to think long and hard about this. Are you done? Are you certain that you're done? If not, then go play. Get another year. Pursue another Super Bowl. Because being in the locker room, being around the guys, being a part of that level of competition, having that charge of walking out on a field on Sunday afternoon in the fall, that's got to be intoxicating. The hard part is once you're in, 8, 9, 10 years plus in the league, the hard part is knowing what's next. The off-season conditioning program, mini camp, training camp, all the grind and work that you have to put in to get to that level, to get ready to play for another season, man. It's a sacrifice. And there are certain guys, they reach a point, they're like, I am done because I have no desire to put in the necessary work that is required to get to where I need to be. And that's how a lot of athletes know they're done. When the desire to continue to work at the level you need to work, to keep your body in the right condition and get ready to play, when you no longer have that, that's usually the sign that I got to shut it down. Because these guys burn at an octane level that we can't relate to. We're not nowhere near. These are not normal individuals. They burn at a different octane level. And when that desire to stop working is there, then they know that it's probably time to shut it down. So we'll see what happens with Kelce. But if he does walk away, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. He's right up there with Gronk and the rest of the guys. Tony Gonzalez, Gronk, Kelce. It's terrific. And it's also got to be hard to walk away knowing you're playing with Patrick Mahomes, playing with the best quarterback in the game. And Mahomes is going to be fine, too, by the way. I don't think that game, at least for me, it doesn't impact his legacy at all. He still opened up his career going to 7 straight AFC title games. He's got 3 titles, and he's probably going to get more. So we'll see how things shake out with the roster and how they continue to reconstruct and build. All right, that's going to do it for me. I do appreciate your time. Chris Burkhart's got Blazer Game Day coming up next. And then Travis Demers will have the call at 6. The Trailblazers finish up the first half of the season once again against the Nuggets. And it's going to be here on 620 Rip City Radio. Tomorrow, snow, sunshine, whatever the case may be, I'll be back with the Rip City Drive at 3 o'clock. So I appreciate your time. Enjoy the game tonight. Burkhart's up next with Blazers Game Day.